experienced the moment where you are selected for a demanding role you see yourself not qualified for? Today's story is a clear example of that, about a man who didn't see any greatness in himself, but in the eye of God, a great leader. We are going to see how it unfolds. Will this person accept the call of God for such a leadership role? And is he going to be up to the task? Join us in today's episode of Untold Bible Stories.
Where this is God. Where are we? I think that the scorpion passed. Hey guys, you see what we're suffering? All that we need you to do is subscribe to this channel.
Hit that subscribe button and hit the bell. That way you get notified when we post the videos. Bye friends.
The Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord, and for 7 years he gave them into the hands of the Midianites. Because the power of Midian was so oppressive, the Israelites prepared shelter from themselves in mountain clefts, caves, and strongholds. Whenever the Israelites planted their crops, the Midianites, Amalekites, and other eastern people invaded the country. They camped on the land and ruined the crops all the way to Gaza, and did not spare a living thing for Israel. Neither sheep, nor cattle, nor donkeys. They came up with their livestock and their tents like swarms of locusts. It was impossible to count them or their camels. They invaded the land to ravage it. Midian so impoverished the Israelites that they could cry out to the Lord for help. When the Israelites cried out to the Lord because of Midian, he sent them a prophet who said, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel says. I brought you up out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. I rescued you from the hand of the Egyptians, and I delivered you from the hand of all your oppressors. I drove them out before you and gave you their land. I said to you, I am the Lord your God. Do not worship the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you live. But you have not listened to me." The angels of the Lord came down and sat down under the oak of Ophrah, the Ophrah that belonged to Joash the Abiezrite, where his son Gideon was threshing wheat in a winepress to keep it from the Midianites. When the angel of the Lord appeared to Gideon, he said, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." "Pardon me, my Lord," Gideon replied, "but if the Lord is with us, why has all this happened to us? Where are all his wonders that our ancestors told us about when they said, 'Did not the Lord bring us up out of Egypt?' But now the Lord has abandoned us and given us into the hands of Midian." The Lord turned to him and said, "Go in the strength you have and save Israel out of Midian's hand. Am I not sending you?" "Pardon me, my Lord," Gideon replied, "but how can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my family." The Lord answered, "I will be with you, and you will strike down all the Midianites, leaving none alive." Gideon replied, "If now I have found favor in your eyes, give me a sign that it is really you talking to me. Please do not go away until I come back and bring my offering and set it before you." And the Lord said, "I will wait until you return." Gideon went inside, prepared a young goat, and from an ephah of flour he made bread without yeast. Putting the meat in a basket and its broth in a pot, he brought them out and offered them to him under the oak. The angel of God said to him, "Take the meat and the unleavened bread, place them on this rock, and pour out the broth." And Gideon did so. Then the angel of the Lord touched the meat and the unleavened bread with the tip of the staff that was in his hand, Fire flared from the rock, consuming the meat and the bread, and the angel of the Lord disappeared. When Gideon realized that it was the angel of the Lord, he exclaimed, "Alas, sovereign Lord, I have seen the angel of the Lord face to face." But the Lord said to him, "Peace, do not be afraid. You are not going to die." So Gideon built an altar to the Lord there and called it, "The Lord is Peace." To this day it stands in Ophrah of the Abiezrites. That same night the Lord said to him, "Take the second bull from your father's herd, the one 7 years old. Tear down your father's altar to Baal and cut down the Asherah pole beside it. Then build a proper kind of altar to the Lord your God on the top of his height, using the wood of the Asherah pole that you cut down. Offer the second bull as a burnt offering." So Gideon took 10 of his servants and did as the Lord told him. But because he was afraid of his family and the townspeople, he did it at the night rather than in the daytime. In the morning, when people of the town got up, there was a Baal altar demolished, with the Asherah pole inside it cut down, and the second bull sacrificed on the newly built altar. They asked each other, "Who did this?" When they carefully investigated, they were told Gideon, son of Joash, did it. The people of the town demanded of Joash, "Bring out your son, he must die, because he has broken down Baal's altar and cut down the Asherah pole beside it." But Joash replied to the hostile crowd around him, "Are you going to plead Baal's cause? Are you trying to save him? Whoever fights for him shall be put to death by morning. If Baal is a god, he can defend himself. When someone breaks down the altar..." So, because Gideon broke down the Baal's altar, they gave him the name Jerubbaal. That day, saying, "Let Baal contend with him." Now all the Midianites, Amalekites, and other eastern people joined forces and crossed over the Jordan and camped in the valley of Jezreel. Then the Spirit of the Lord came unto Gideon, and he blew a trumpet, summoning the Abiezrites to follow him. He sent messengers throughout Manasseh, calling them to arms, and also into Asher, Zebulun, and Naphtali. So they went up to meet him. Gideon said to God, "If you will save Israel by my hand as you have promised, look, I will place a wool of fleece on the threshing floor. If there's dew only on the fleece and all the ground is dry, then I will know that you save Israel by my hand, as you said," and that is what happened. Gideon rose early the next day. He squeezed the fleece and wrung out the dew, a bowl full of water. Then Gideon said to God, "Do not be angry with me. Let me make just one more request. Allow me to make one more test with the fleece, but this time make the fleece dry and let the ground be covered with dew." That night God did so. Only the fleece was dry, all the ground was covered with dew. Gideon looked down on himself due to the clan and family he comes from. But God, who created him, saw him as a mighty man of valor. This is a good reason for us as humans to always seek God, because he created and knows what he created us for. Society might look down on us and carve an image of us, but we shouldn't give in to that, because who God created us to be is far greater than what society will deem us to be. It doesn't matter your background, the family you come from, your race, demographic. God can use you for great things. It all depends on us trusting him. Again, the sin of the Israelites led to the oppression of the Midianites. The enemy, including our ultimate enemy, the devil, doesn't have access to afflict until we give in to sin. Gideon went accusing God of why he has delivered them into the hands of the enemy. Meanwhile, at the same time, there was an altar of the enemy, Baal, at his house. And for God to use him, he had to break the altar of the enemy first. What is the altar of the enemy in your life giving him access to oppress your life? Those secret sins, those movies we shouldn't watch, those music we play that serve as altar of Satan. Many times, instead of blaming and complaining to God, let's look around ourselves for such altars as these and stay away, and we shall experience our freedom. That's so much lesson for the day. That was a very interesting story. So what's going to happen next? How is Gideon going to win the battle against the Midianites? Will God pull off a miracle for the victory? Our next episode is going to deal with that. Please subscribe and hit that bell notification button so that you'll be immediately aware when our next episode is up. But till then, stay blessed. Amen.